Tenamwari, greetings in the most precious, powerful, and bountiful name of our motherland, Al-Kebulan, Mama Africa, in the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope, and prosperity for all African people upon the face of Mother Earth. Rumbidzo kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Kudzai mudzimumukuru, give praises unto our most gracious and glorious ancestors. I bring greetings also to our beloved and treasured listeners. And I do declare, beloved brothers and sisters, that it is a joy to be an African, and a joy and a blessing to be on Galaxy Radio, ministering to the most important and the most beautiful people on the planet. And yes, sadly, alas, the most coveted people on the planet, the sons and daughters of Africa. I come to you, beloved brothers and sisters, in the name of the supreme creator of the universe, known by the many names, according to the many tongues across the length and breadth of our beloved and precious motherland. I come to you in the spirit, or through the spirits of Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors. This is Project 6264, raising African spirituality to a higher level. This is our spiritual focus, beloved brothers and sisters, as we strive to rescue and reconstruct our spiritual wisdom, the ways, the teachings, the levity of Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors. After all, this is Africa Speaks with Al-Kebulan, the Al-Kebulan revivalist movement, inspired by the philosophy of Al-Kebulan levity. Al-Kebulan being one of the oldest names on historical record for the African continent, representing the African land and people before we were invaded, conquered, and enslaved. And so, therefore, representing the authentic African way of life. Liberty, meaning divine living. Combined Al-Kebulan and liberty, the definition is living according to the divine teachings and traditions of our mother culture. That's our vision, that's our purpose, that's our mission as the Al-Kebulan revivalist movement, living according to the divine teachings and traditions of our mother culture. And that is the reason, beloved brothers and sisters, why we convene every first Umoja-Day of the month, our monthly Shumira, where we call the community to the order of African traditional spiritual worship. How powerful the word, how powerful the sound, Shumira, the call to the African communal shrine, to synchronize our thoughts, synchronize our spiritual focus, beloved brothers and sisters, to bind us together in mind, in spirit, and in body, in purpose, and in vision, before the African shrine, evoking the spirits of Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors, to strengthen our bond, to strengthen our conviction, to strengthen and to consolidate our purpose, our mission, our dedication to this cause. Join us every first Umoja-Day of the month, beloved brothers and sisters, for in that coming together, we strengthen, we reaffirm our spiritual oneness, and in that oneness, beloved brothers and sisters, lies our awesome, insurmountable, collective strength and power on the spiritual realm. Join us at the African Shrine. For African spirituality is not something just to talk about, not something just to verbally declare or theoretically align ourselves with. African spirituality must be implemented in our lives. It must permeate every single aspect of our lives. As the researcher Baba Mbiti says, Africans are notoriously religious. Let's change that word religious to spiritual. And he says that of all the many traditional groups that he has studied, he has found without exception that in every single group we had a concept of the creator, a divine creator of the universe, and a concept of the spirit. He says spirituality permeates the lives of African people so fully that it is not possible to separate our spirituality from any aspect of our lives. That is the essence of being African. It is to be awake and alive to the spirit, to the concept of spirit. It is to be open to spirit. And so we know that this is, because we are open to spirit, we understand the spiritual orientation of the moment, the season that we are in, the summer solstice, where the sun is rising to its zenith round about the 21st day of the 6th month. And so we begin to observe that celebration that as our ancestors of the Nile Valley did, and other parts of the African continent, always recognizing the sun as the source of strength, the source of energy, the source of light, the source of life. And so we approach the summer solstice with reverence as we look at ourselves in the mirror of Ma'at and ask ourselves the question, what goals have we set? What targets have we set that we must reach? Like Ra, ascending to its zenith. What are the goals that we have set ourselves? What are the targets that we have set ourselves? What processes, systems, structures have we put in place to ensure that we meet those targets individually and collectively? This is a time of reflection, beloved brothers and sisters. As we move on in the spirit of the summer solstice, hailing Amen-Ra, the sun, and all its endowments of life, enhancing and life-sustaining richness, we hail the spirit of Baba Herukuti, as he lays restfully, awaiting that moment when we shall pronounce his name in earnest, as we appeal to the realm of the ancestors to give him safe ascendancy in his resurrection and rise to the sacred realm. That day when we shall gather at the communal shrine again in honor of his life, of his legacy. Baba Herukuti Ras Cosmo Ben Imhotep. When we shall gather to sing praise songs and dance praise dances in his honor. As we lay his body to rest, but empower his spirit in its rise. Reminding ourselves, brothers and sisters, of our responsibility to gather around the family and dig deep into our pockets and support the family in easing the financial burden to ensure that all that is required for that celebration of life is made possible with ease, without any stress or pressure upon the family. Let us continue to render our financial gifts to the family, beloved brothers and sisters. We also evoke the spirit of our ancestors. So let us again say, may the soul of our Baba rise like Ra on the wings of Ma'at after a favorable judgment in the council of Asar. Ashe, 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 Amen Ra, it is done. And as we move forward, we summon the spirits of Muzimu Mukuru. We summon the spirits of the prophets of healing as we send healing vibrations, healing meditations to our Baba Kwabena, who is recovering from a severe illness in hospital, beloved brothers and sisters. We heal Auntie Jean for her initiative, her life-saving initiative. Her life-saving initiative. That beautiful African queen. That beautiful African queen who understood her communal duties and responsibilities and rose to her responsibilities and made a life-saving intervention. We call upon the spirits of our ancestors to also bless our beloved sister in the tremendous work that she's doing in our community. Bless her as they bless Baba Kwabena. We also heal our community for rallying to the cause. Brothers and sisters have put in train a process of care and support from the community. How beautiful, how African, how spiritual. That's African spirituality in practice, beloved brothers and sisters. But remember that we need to have permanent structures in place, well organized, well resourced, so that in these eventualities, beloved brothers and sisters, we can respond effectively. We do not have to always reinvent the wheel, because we have in our nation building program, we have a program for social care, for health care that is well organized and well resourced. We heal our brother Omowale and send him healing meditations also at this time, beloved brothers and sisters. Let us raise his spirit up. For one who has given so much to his people for so many decades is worthy of our love, is worthy of our healing meditations. We love you, Brother Omowale. We send you our healing meditations. Beloved brothers and sisters, this is Project 6264, raising African spirituality to a higher level. Let us remind ourselves that spirituality is the center and foundation of the African culture. the core of African consciousness, and thus the essence of the African personality. In reviving, in rescuing, in reconstructing our African spirituality, we remind ourselves that all concepts of spirituality, so-called religions, have their philosophy. The philosophy is their body of knowledge, which defines for the people the concept of the creator, the creation, humanity, morality, and the destiny of the human soul. We have our African-centered spiritual philosophy as a people. And we will talk more about that in coming sessions like these, beloved brothers and sisters. But just remember, we have our African spirituality, emanating from our body of knowledge, our body of wisdom. African-centered wisdom is our value system. Our value systems are the principles of way of life, at the core of which are the principles, the standards, the rules, the regulations that governs our thinking, governs our lives, governs our relationship to each other, governs our relationship to Mother Nature, beloved brothers and sisters, governs our relationship, man and woman, bonded in divine conjugal union. All of that is defined within the system of values that is rooted in our philosophy. All spiritual concepts of spirituality have their practices, their modes of worship, their rituals, their ceremonies, their observances, beloved brothers and sisters. Because this is what synchronizes the people's thought, the people's focus, the people's action. This is where the strength of the people is sourced, from the philosophy to the systems of values which informs the practices. Again, I say, of the modes of worship, how we worship, when we worship, the rituals we observe, the ceremonies we observe, the observances within the life cycle, like the summer solstice, the winter solstice, the equinox, the full moon. All these are special observances. We have Mosiah. We have Omowale Malcolm X observance. All of these are observances, beloved brothers and sisters, that binds a people together, that synchronizes a people. We have to take them seriously. Every concept of spirituality has its prophets, its prophecies from the prophets. For the prophets are the visionaries. They are the hearers, the seers, the imaginers, the thinkers. They are the ones who can see beyond the mundane. They are the ones who see beyond obstacles, obstructions. In the Yoruba tradition, we hear of Orunmila, the prophet. In the Akan tradition, we hear of Okomfo Noche, Okomfo Anoche. We hear of Kimpavita in the Bakongo tradition. We hear of Chaminuka of the Shona tradition. We hear of Umbuya Nehanda, also of the Shona tradition. We hear of Nani of the Maroons. We also hear of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey. These and many more are the prophets of our spiritual traditions, and there are many, many more. We do not have to get biblical or Quranic or Toraic in order to connect with the concept and the names of prophets. We have our own prophets. We have their names. We have their utterances. We have them as sources of great inspiration, beloved brothers and sisters. We only need to study them. And within the context of African spirituality, we learn about our African prophets and their prophecies. So we can learn to see, beloved brothers and sisters, to hear, to see beyond the immediate, to see beyond the mundane, to hear beyond the immediate, to hear ancestral voices of ancient times as they speak, beloved brothers and sisters, through our hearts, through our souls, guiding us. Ancestral voices of thousands of years, beloved brothers and sisters. Spirits who have gone through the rhythmic cycle of African life over and over and over again, and are therefore endowed with the wisdom to inspire us. Yes, brothers and sisters, through Project 6264, as we raise African spirituality to a higher level, we will learn more about our African philosophy, our African value systems, our African practices, our African prophets and prophecies. But this is the source of our African wisdom. This is the source that guides the African will. This is the source, beloved brothers and sisters, that strengthens the African will power. The power of the African will to be that which the Creator created us to be. For we, beloved brothers and sisters, have been alienated from our natural being, and we are determined to restore the true essence of who we are. In the wisdom of Mama Marimba Annie, our spiritual mother, she teaches us of the Asili. Her name has been called, so let me reinforce the power of her wisdom. She teaches us of the African concept of the Asili, the cultural seed. We are replenishing the African Asili. We are regenerating the African Asili, the cultural seed, that from which the essence of African being springs. That is that from which the African DNA, cultural DNA, informs how we think, how we see, how we hear, how we perceive, how we organize, how we live, beloved brothers and sisters. And then the African Utamaroho, the energy that emanates from the African Asili, the African cultural seed. That energy, that essence that emanates from that. Just the way we vibe, our rhythm. Beloved brothers and sisters. And the Utamawazo, African structured thought, how we organize, informed by our very nature of being. This is a challenge that faces us to be African, as Mama Marimba Annie says, or not to be. To be African or not to be. We're either existing as Africans, in which case we will prosper, or we are not existing at all. We cannot exist in the nature of some other being, especially if that other being is alien and destructive to our being. We cannot be aping and monkeying someone else. That is not existence. That is not being. We can only be that which Mwari Nyakusika, God, the creator of the universe. We just say God, beloved brothers and sisters, for the sake of cross translation. But we are talking about the supreme being, the creator of the universe, created us African for a purpose, a divine purpose. It's in the Afrikan-Centred. And we must rediscover that purpose and manifest that purpose in the African, in the Utamaroho, the very African personality, the very African spirit that we exude, the African energy that we generate, that we share with each other, and the African Utamawazo, how we organize, how we structure our lives, how we build institutions that promote, preserve, and protect African being and directs African purpose. We will get there, beloved brothers and sisters, but we have to be deeply, deeply committed, disciplined, and determined. This has been Project 6264, raising African spirituality to a much higher level. For we are Africans. Every aspect of our being is African. And we shall liberate through the wisdom, through realigning with the wisdom of Mutumumukuro, our great ancestors, who connects us with the creator of the universe, the only medium and source by which we are connected with the divine supreme being. Through that process, beloved brothers and sisters, we will be victorious. There is no question. This has been Project 6264, raising African spirituality to a higher level. Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.